Assalamualaikum students. Today we are going to start with our lecture in information technology for standard 11. We are going to start with chapter number 2, Introduction to Database Management System. But before I start my lecture, let me tell you students that in IT there will be no paper based exam, there will be only an online exam. Okay, there will be only online exams for you, where you are supposed to, for information technology only, where you are supposed to write your paper on computer, right? So students, please practice all the programs on computers so that you can increase your typing speed as well. Okay, now we will start with our lecture. See, these are the syllabus for you for standard 11. Title of the chapters are, there are two sections. One is theory chapter, okay, and another one is skill oriented practicals. Now in theory chapters there are 4 chapters. First one is basics of information technology, second one is introduction to database management system, DBMS, third one is impressive web designing, and fourth one is cyber law. These are the theory chapters. These 4 chapters are there in your syllabus for theory chapters. Now next section is skill oriented practicals. Now here you are supposed to perform these practicals on computer. Okay. Now there are 4 topics. First one is daily computing, where you are going to practice on LibreOffice. Okay, LibreOffice is a software where you are going to practice these practicals. Okay, now second one is web designing. For this web designing we are going to use HTML5. Okay, to create the web pages we are going to use HTML5. Third chapter is client side scripting, where we are going to use JavaScript. Fourth one is DBMS. What is the full form of DBMS? Database Management System, where you are going to perform these practicals on PostgreSQL. The pronunciation of this is PostgreSQL. Okay, so we are going to do these 4 practicals in your syllabus, and there are 4 chapters in your syllabus. Now I am going to teach you the chapter number 2, Introduction to Database Management System. This is the theory chapter, Introduction to Database Management System. And I will take skill oriented practicals based on this DBMS or PostgreSQL platform. Okay, so there are 2 topics which I am going to explain you. In theory chapters there is a chapter, Introduction to Database Management System, that is the second chapter, and skill oriented practicals, DBMS on PostgreSQL. Okay, PostgreSQL is a software where we are going to perform the practicals based on database management system. Okay, now we will start with our chapter, second chapter, that is Introduction to Database Management System. Topics for today is, we are going to study about introduction to database, definition of database, and difference between data and information. Okay, we will start with our first topic, that is introduction to database. What is a database? A database is an organized collection of information or data. A database is an organized collection of information or data. A database is an organized collection of information or data. In day-to-day life, everyone uses database in various ways to maintain records in systematic manner. Like at home, we maintain diaries or phone books to store names, address, contact numbers, email IDs, etc. of our relatives and parents, right? In hospitals, doctors stores medical history of patient. In libraries, librarian maintains record of books, right? The issue date, the return date, right? So the librarian maintains record of books. In schools and colleges, teachers maintains record of students, right? Their name, roll number, the class register, the report card. We are going to create your report card. We are going to create your database, right? Definition to database. What is the definition to database? A database is an organized collection of data generally stored and accessed electronically from a computer system. Now, in today's world, we use technologies to make our life more easy and systematic, right? Everyone is using computer to make the systematic storage of data. So, a database is an organized collection or systematic collection of data generally stored and accessed electronically from a computer system. So, a database is an interrelated data. We can save the interrelated data in a database to easy insertion, deletion or retrieval of data. You can insert the data in your database, you can retrieve the data in your database, you can update the data in your database, and you can easily delete your data if you are maintaining the database on computer, right? So, a database is an organized collection of data generally stored and accessed electronically from a computer system. This is what a database. Okay. Now, we will see the difference between data and information. What is the difference between data and information? So, data versus information. This is a table which will explain you what is the difference between data and information. A data is a raw facts, right? It is a raw facts. Data does not help in decision making. Like data could be relative or irrelative, like roll number, marks of each student, name, right? These are individually called as a data. Now, what is information? Information is processed data. Whatever data you have collected, you have to process it to make it in the form of information. So, you are supposed to process these data, collected data, into information. Okay. Now, information helps in decision making. You can make decision based on this information. Like data does not help in decision making. Based on the roll number, you cannot tell that the student is good or bad. Based on the subject or based on the name, you cannot decide that the student is good or bad, right? But based on the information, based on his marks, based on his total marks, right? Based on his report card, you can make decision that this student is good in studies, this student is bad in studies, right? So you can take the decision by using information, right? So information helps in decision making. Without data, information it cannot be processed. If you are not having data, you cannot generate information, right? So to create the information, process the information, you are supposed to collect the data first. Okay, the total marks of the subject and percentage, total marks of the subject, percentage of the student, and grade is the information that shows the performance of the student. Correct. Now, and can be derived from the given data, from the first semester marks, from the test mark, from the subject marks. You can get the data, right? And you can collect all the data to create a report card. On the basis of that report card, you can make the decision, right, that the performance of this student is good and the performance of that student is bad. Correct? So this is what the difference between data and information. You can see here the first difference is data is a raw fact and information is the processed data, right? You can first collect the information, you can first collect the data, and then you can process the information. Without data, you cannot process the information, right? Now, second is data does not help in decision making. We cannot make the decision based on the data, correct? Now, information helps in decision making. If you are having the complete information about the student, you can make the decision, right? Data could be relative or irrelative. It may be relative or irrelative, like roll 1, 2, 3, 4, right? XYZ, ABC, 35, 58. These are the data. But when you collect these data together and you processed it into information, then you come to know that roll number 1 is having name XYZ and he is having marks for the subject English is 35, for the subject IT is 40, like this, right? So you can get the information about roll number 1, roll number 2, roll number 3, roll number 4, like this. But data, it is just a raw fact. Okay? Roll number, marks of the students, individually, subjects, name individually, these are called as data. And total marks of the subject, report card, percentage, grade are the information that shows that the performance of a student is good or bad, and it can be derived from the given data. Okay, now we will move to the next slide, that is data versus information. What is data? A data is a raw fact or raw material that can be processed by any computing machine. Data can be represented in the form of images. You can collect the images, you can collect the sounds, you can collect the multimedia, you can collect the animated data, right? So these are the types of data you can collect, like images, sounds, multimedia, animated data, etc. These are the types of data. Okay. For example, the main example of the data are weight, roll number, employee ID, first sem marks, etc. These are individually called as the data. Okay. More examples are employee name, product name, address of the student, address of the employee, tax code, registration marks, etc. These are the examples of data. Now we will see what are information. Information is data that has been converted into a more useful and intelligible form. Correct? The information is obtained by assembling items of data into a meaningful form. We can generate the information by assembling the raw data into meaningful way. Correct? Examples for these information are timetable, merit list, report card, headed table, printed documents, pay slips, receipts, reports. These are the examples of information. Okay. So what we have studied today, we have seen the chapters, right? We have seen all the chapters and the skill oriented practicals. Then we have started introduction to database management system. First we have seen what are database. What is database? A database is an organized collection of information or data. In day-to-day life, everyone uses database in various ways to maintain records in systematic manner. In our house, we are maintaining phone books, we are maintaining diaries to store the details of the friends and family members, right? We can store name, address, contact number, email IDs, etc. Date of birth, correct? So that we can come to know that today is the birthday of this person, correct? So we can easily wish them. In hospitals, doctor stores medical history of the patient so that next time when the patient comes, doctor may easily find out what was the disease and what was the medicines given to that patient. Okay. In libraries, librarian maintains record of books like issue date, correct, return date, etc. In schools and colleges, teachers maintain record of students like report card, registers, attendance registers, etc. Right? So teachers are maintaining record of students. Now we will see the definition of database. What is the definition of database? We have seen a database is an organized collection of data generally stored and accessed electronically from a computer system. Correct? Now in today's world we are using technologies to make our life more easy and systematic. We are using computers. Everyone is using computer to save the data, right? So we are using computer system to store the data in the database. And a database is interrelated data to easy insertion, deletion and retrieval of data. A database is interrelated data. What you save in database, you can save the interrelated data. What is interrelated data? Which are linked to each other, right? Like if you are maintaining a database of a student, you can store the details of the student, then you can store the details of the student performance in first semester, you can store the details of the student performance in second semester. Like this, you can create the database based on one entity. Okay, so you can easily insert the data in that. You can easily delete the data from the database. You can easily update any data in database. You can easily retrieve the data in database. Correct? Next we have seen data versus information. We have seen the difference between data and information. What is the difference? First difference is data is the raw fact and information is the processed data. Okay, whatever data we have collected, we have processed that data into to get the information. Correct? Second one is data does not help in decision making. You cannot take the decision based on the data. Okay, and information helps in decision making. You can make the decision based on the information, right? Data could be relative or irrelative. You can collect the data which are related or irrelated to each other. Correct? Now, without data, information cannot be processed. You cannot process the information if you are not having data. Correct? If you are not having the marks of the student, you cannot generate the report card. So you are supposed to get the data first to process it into information. Then we have seen the examples: roll number, marks of each subject, name individually called as a data. And what are the information examples? Examples of information are the total marks of the subject, percentage and grade of the student, right? Report card, correct? So these are the information that shows the performance of a student, so that you can take the decision based on this report card that the student is good or bad in studies, and can be derived from the given data, and you are deriving these information from the given data. Correct? Then we have seen the definition of data. What is data? Data is a raw material that can be processed by any computing machine. You are feeding these data into the computer machine, right, to generate the information. Data can be represented in the form of images. You can save the data in the form of images, in the form of sound, in the form of multimedia, in the form of animated data. Correct? The example of data is, the main example of the data are weight, roll number, employee ID, first sem marks, etc. These are the example of data. Now we will see the information. Information is the data that has been converted into the more useful and intelligible form. The information is obtained by assembling these data, okay, these items of data into a meaningful form, into a systematic form. Okay, example of information are timetable, merit list, report card, right? These are the example of information. Correct? Now we will solve few question answer based on the above topic. Okay. The first question is, answer the following questions. First one is, write short note on. You are supposed to write the short note on data. You are supposed to write down the short note on information, and you are supposed to write down the short note on database. These are the three questions which may come in your exam based on the topic. Introduction to database and definition of database. Okay, then write difference between data and information. Here you have explained the data and information in detail. Then here you are supposed to write down the difference between data and information. Okay, so see this difference, you are supposed to write the difference, this difference in the answer. Okay. Third one is give 3 examples where we are maintaining records in our day-to-day life. I have explained you, I have given you 3 examples, right? I have given you more 5 examples how we are maintaining the database in our day-to-day life. Correct? Like at home, in hospitals, in libraries, right? I have explained you. In schools, so we are supposed to write it in as the example. Any 3 example you can write where we are maintaining the record. Okay. Explain database in brief. You are supposed to write the database. You are supposed to explain it briefly. What is database? You are supposed to explain it briefly. Okay. Then write 5 examples of data and information. I have already explained you I have already given you the examples of data and information. So you are supposed to write, you are supposed to find out 5 examples of data and 5 examples of information. Okay, now fill in the blanks. The first fill in the blank is dash is a collection of interrelated data. What is the collection of interrelated data? Yes, you are supposed to find it out and you are supposed to read it. Okay, database is a collection of interrelated data. Correct? Then second one is dash helps us in easy retrieval, insertion, updation and deletion of data. Database, correct? And dash is a raw fact. What is a raw fact? Data is a raw fact. Data could be relative or irrelative. Here you are supposed to write down data could be relative or irrelative. Okay. Fifth one is dash is processed data. What is a processed data? Yes, information is processed data, right? Information helps in decision making. Correct? Without dash, information cannot be processed. Without data, information cannot be processed. See, these are the answers. Database is a collection of interrelated data. Database helps us in easy retrieval, insertion, updation and deletion of the data. Data is a raw fact that data could be relative or irrelative. There are 2 types of data. It may be a relative or irrelative. Now, information is processed data. Okay, we can process the data, generate the information. Information helps in decision making. We have already studied all these things, right? Without data, information cannot be processed. So these are the answers. You just write it down, note it down and practice it. Okay, just read it once, at least once. Thank you so much. We are going to stop here today. We will start with our new topic, that is database management system of this chapter. Okay,